So now that the dust has settled, yesterday I was in conflict with somebody, and the person was kind of like, blah blah blah, I don't get it. And the first part was maybe trolling, haha, funny, we do a little trolling around here. We are synonymous with the legion and whatnot, guys, herder, look at me, I'm pretending to be retarded. Yeah, so it started like this. I gotta say I was a little bit sleep deprived, so there was this thing, and the other thing about some sort of work related issue, let's put it like that. The thing about that is that it was handled quite well, but the way till there was quite brutal, And the second thing got resolved, but the exhaustion kicked in. Like seriously, the doubt about humanity, myself, and this is always a good indicator when you feel like everyone wants you dead and you want you dead, and everyone hates you and you hate everyone, and there is hopelessness and despair and chaos and pain. That's always a good indicator to go to sleep because it'll only get worse from here. Yeah, but besides that, I also told this person, give me like half day to recollect. This is something I didn't do in the past because sometimes, you need like an immediate solution. You think the sooner the solution follows, the better it is. And even though I hate putting things off, it gives you a clear and fresh and very objective perspective if you can hold out for a day, And in my case, I'd say, I feel like this nirvana sort of zen state, clear and focused, somewhat outslept, not totally, but we're getting there, bit by bit. Back to the conflict. The conflict at hand was, there was some issue with some aspect of technology, And the thing about that is, we all do not get everything all the time, I totally do understand that. Making mistakes is human. I do accept and tolerate this. But there's a certain history you have to also acknowledge when you sort of talk with me. Maybe it's outspoken by me, maybe it's not. But I have like a friend of mine who does like these funny psycho games, where he pretends to be retarded, but he's not retarded, where he pretends he forgot, where he pretends to be an asshole, And this is some sort of meta humor, You have to, you have to have high IQ points. No, I'm just kidding. No, the thing is just sometimes we start with a basic joke, knock knock, who's there, and then it evolves about something, I don't know, hopscotch on a rooftop, the last hopscotch step is downwards from the building, It's like when you Google Wikipedia article like humor. Anyways, I digress, okay? The thing about that is, there are levels and layers to humor, So I'm sort of in this constant protective mode. Like, I'm also constantly sarcastic and cynical. Ironically, I cannot spot it when people are sarcastic or cynical to me, So there's that angle. I try to look at it, but like, I'm totally naive, like I have protection mechanisms about this sort of shit, but in real time, I'm like, the person tells me something and I totally believe it and whatnot, It got better over the time, because as you get older, you read a lot of stupid shit, and then you think about like, is this true or is that true? Is this person faking some shit? And after some time, you come to the realization, maybe all of it is fake, maybe none of it is real, Was there anything real ever, Then this sort of existential dread comes up. But this also evolves, and this is quite important for the background story. And the piece of information that was handed out to us, like maybe 6 to 9 months ago, we're talking 6 to 9 months ago, and the person was asking this question, and this is where I said, this is where I draw the line. And the funny thing about this is, like, I've come to realize, I know you have your household chores and your stuff to do, but I didn't know, man. This is what I see. There are a couple of people in this sort of collection, in this group, and you can spot exactly when somebody wasn't paying attention. Is it for a short or long duration of time? It doesn't matter. And it also doesn't matter that you didn't pay attention. That's also not the troublesome part. The troublesome part is from, you're in some sort of circle, in some sort of zone, and then you're out of the zone, out there. And the sort of the art of it all is to come back into the zone without letting anyone know. Not because you have to be like protective and like, I hope nobody finds out, or they just don't have to know jack shit about me because I'm so tough and darn cool. No. It's not even about that. It's all about, from the inside to the outside, depending on the factors, less annoying, But from the outside to the inside, it gets a little bit more annoying when you don't handle this good enough. In this kind of case, it was like this. Because like this information was sort of submitted by a higher instance, higher authority, so to say, And then I sort of thought, like, is the person talking trash? I tried this out. No, the person was right and true. And yeah, this information is sort of somewhat verified. I can confirm this works. So I was like, hey, all you people, listen, this stuff works, like publicly. Announcing it multiple times. I'm talking like, I was exaggerating the numbers. It was like 100. Nah, but let's say like 5 to 10 times is like realistic, And then in this personal conversation with this person, the person was somewhat already aggregated for whatever reason. Maybe because of the piece of software, maybe because of me, maybe because of both, maybe because of other factors. The fact remains that, I told this person like a couple of months ago, blah, 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 this is the issue, blah, 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 these are the choices. Like also 5 to 10 times. In text form and in audio form, And then, then there's this thing with how should I put it? Like where I said this person, we've reached a counter, If person asks for information 99 times, so give okay, In our case it was only 20 times, but still 20 times maybe. 20, okay? 20. Let that number sink in over a duration of 6 months, sort of 6 to 9 months, And if a person asks for information ABC, 20 times, let the person know. If the number reaches 21, ask dire questions, And this is what happened. And how should I put it? Like, I'm the bad guy because you did not pay attention, man. Like over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, And I gave you the information and you asked a couple of times around and you didn't close the case by saying, I still do not get it. But if you said, there is like this aspect of clear communication. If you said, I do not get it, but I also don't want to get it, that is perfectly fine. From a personal perspective, I'd say, why though? On a blah blah blah, it's my life, On this kind of perspective, it's your choice to, let's put it like cynically, retard maxing, Some people make it like a sport to retard max, If you say like, I prefer to stay unwise, it has its benefits, it has its disadvantages. But regardless to that, you had the choice multiple times to say, I get it, I don't get it, this aspect I do get, this aspect I don't get, here's what I need to like repeat. And yeah, that's the thing. That is the thing, you know. I said like, you know, man, that's like, yeah, what should I say about this? Then the person got the information himself. Let's say it's a him, she, it, they, them, queer, I don't know, gender fluid. And the thing about that is like the person got the information, but after 20 times there's like serious doubt, you know, I'm worried. And I also wrote like, I'm worried. And the thing is, people who get emotional, you know, if you told me I have dementia, how would I react? Will I react like, oh yippee, finally the diagnosis I waited for? It's quite nice to see and read that I can't remember jack shit. That is always nice to hear. I'm so happy to hear this, because I will forget also this information. This makes me happy, contentful and blissful. No, in I suppose 99.9 cases, 99% of the cases, you'll interpret this as an insult. Like, this guy says like I'm stupid and retarded and shit and handicapped and I'm a dummy and stupid and retarded and whatnot, and he insults me just because he hates me. There is only this way why this person tells me this. Yeah, sure. I have nothing better to do than to insult people in my private time. That is totally my thing, man. Like, insulting people, nothing gets me more of, you know. But that's always the thing. And yeah, I've seen this pattern occur like with a different path, growing differently, but the outcome is somewhat the same, even though the information might vary or differ. But the fact remains that you will not believe this, you know. This is like, what is it, Occam's razor? You know, what is more probable? Is it more probable that lizard people, NWO, are controlling us by feeding us chemicals that make us buy more stuff in order to kill all humanity? Or is it more probable that people do crazy shit and we fuck up and that's it? There's like, I'm not saying Occam's razor is always right, but in many cases, you know. This is also like, here's a perfect example. When you look at nature, it took nature like 1 or 2 or 3 days, we're talking millions and billions of years, you know, to get some of the ecosystem stuff somewhat right, you know, only for humanity to come along and fuck it up to a big degree, you know. And the thing about that is, how should I put it? It's like we're already busy fucking up the planet. How, you know, we cannot even manage like who gets wealth distributed to a fair level or not. Not out of maliciousness, I think just out of incompetence. This is where a lot of people say, no, it's a conspiracy, man, they're after you. And this is where I draw the line and say, no, man, we just fuck up big humanity time, kinda, you know. we kinda think we're smarter than animals, and by depleting the earth of resources, we kinda dumber than them. But that's a different subject for a different day, you know. The fact remains that the person reacted quite agitated. Who would have not, you know? And in this moment of despair and dread and sleep deprivation of mine, I said, tomorrow an explanation will follow, you know? And an explanation will definitely follow about this. And the thing is, like, the person put me in this perspective where I said, you know, I also said, like, I sent my video, you know, I made like a video about this subject even 4 months ago in regards to the 6 or 9 months old information, you know, just for me, for myself as reference, or for other people, you know, and which is quite a good, the video itself is dog tier shit, you know, like total utter garbage and trash, but it was more about the information I put in the video description, so people can just like click on the video description and transcribe and Control A, Control Z, and Control V into the preferred AI model and whatnot, you know, to get all the digest of this text, blah blah blah. And the thing about that is that I told him, because my video is so, you know, dog water, don't watch it. And the person said like, this video is about you, I didn't know this, you know, I thought this was somebody else. And here's an indicator. My name is Merlin, you know, and you can also see my surname and forename and whatnot name, you know. And when I write with you and the channel name is the same name as me, which is quite unlikely that this will happen, and you can hear my voice, which is also quite unlikely to happen that it's somebody else. And if you have this visual and this acoustical information feedback that this is from me to you with a video guide, not because you're stupid, not because I want to insult you, just to fix the issue, you know, then it's all about the issue. If you want to make this about yourself, this is always your option. You can make the world about yourself, you know, like this car right here, it parked wrong. Why? Because there are spy drones in the, what is it, the caps in the wheels and whatnot, you know. I'm being followed, you know, they're following me, or people sending weird signals through my head, you know. You can always do this if you wanna. If you feel like you got nothing better to do, sure man, go ahead. But the fact remains that I sent the video just for the solution. And then, you know, I sent the video and I said like, and then a question came again. I said like, this is my personal limit, man. Sorry, I hope you understand. Please don't get mad, but this is my personal limit, you know. I even communicated it like this. I suppose you'll get mad, but this is where I draw the line. Sorry, this is for my personal safety, you know. Otherwise I go insane, insult you or block you, you know, which doesn't help any one of us. And the thing about that is that I'm feeling a little bit gassy today, Mr. Incredible, confirmed. No, the thing is, the person got mad. You know, I sent the video to transcribe the blah 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 stuff, and what was the other thing? Yeah, I'm worried, man, you know, in this sort of order. Then the insults followed, like, I don't know, I did the 10-minute rant yesterday, which was maybe a little bit biased on myself, you know, because I got so agitated. And, you know, if you're in some kind of rage, you tend to rage more and more and more and more. So, no worries on that side, you know. I got calm as fuck down, even though the video is twice as long now. But, which is quite interesting, is then, afterwards, he pulled out the person pulled out like Uno card, no, you know, this is like the ultimate internet argument. If somebody says you should not hold your hand on the muzzle of a pistol, maybe you could fire off your hand. And then the ultimate argument, post-ironically, sarcastically, is like no you, and the person pulled a no you, but quite probably it was not sarcastic or ironic, or it was like honest, like, you know, like, I'm serious. No, I am worried about you. And the thing about that is, like, because the person told me, I told you this about the video transcription. Here's what I know and here's what I don't know. Here's that I sorta picked this up along the line partially, and maybe I forgot and the person re-sparked this kind of thought and memory. I'm sure this person didn't teach me like 100% of it. Even though, let's suppose, you know, now I told this person I have these 3 options. Option number 1, yeah, you're right, you told me about this, but this would also further like validate my argument about I told you stuff like 6 months ago multiple times and you didn't learn from it, you know, only to learn it from yourself, because this is the only information valve that is possible. And this makes it quite irritating, because this means in your kind of logic world I got out with a higher score, which also leaves a bitter taste, which is the ideal bacterial ground to grow another conflict. Or I disapprove, you know, doing like this childish, like, no, you again, you know, you can, there's like this Wii sports game where somebody what is hits like a no you know, tennis rack, and then the other person no you with the other tennis rack, you know, and then it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, no you. And we can also do this, you know, like not acknowledging this, that this came from the person, you know, and I can also not talk about this. These are the three options that I have: making myself unpopular with you, or making myself unpopular with you, or not talking about it. And that's why I said, because the person said, okay, now everything is fine and done and out of the world. And I said, not really, to be honest, you know, that's the problem of mine. I wish I could be lying and say like, yeah, everything is fine, man. Thumbs up and okay and sure, got it. But that is like a weasel move. I wish I could give up this sort of like integrity shit, you know, because it really sucks. If I just suck it up and said, you're right, man, you're the boss, you're the king, you're the player, man, you know it all, man, you got it all, man, you know it all. You're like the king, man, you know, so wise and full of knowledge and no worries, no problems whatsoever. What you say, always right, man, you know. I would never doubt you, you know, 100% correct all the time. But there's like this one teeny tiny bit of backbone that I have where I say, honestly, here's what I feel, here's what I think, here's what I experience, here's what I've come to realize, you know. And in this kind of case, that is exactly that. And even though it's quite funny, when it was raging, it was like 7 or 9 minutes of raging and I was done. And now that I like objectively think about it, this is like a 22-minute long video format. Then I guess that it's okay, because like I want to get it all out there, that this shit doesn't bother me anymore, because I cannot deal with this sort of petty, no you, and like, but I told you, but you told me, and you're stupid, no you're stupid, you know. You need to get like on 4chan or Twitter or something like this if you're looking for this kind of trouble, because you will not find it in me, you know. Like I say it once or twice or thrice, nip it in the butt, you know. And if you don't do it, that's like your thing, you know. And yeah, this is like my 2 kind of cents in regards to all of this. And I hope this helps clarify the situation and what I think and what I saw and what I experienced, because this could have been solved quite elegantly, but it has to be like this sort of muddy bitch fight sort of. Yeah, and yeah, I hope this puts it to rest on this side. But the quite worrisome part about this is the person got the information, but the question still remains: just because this person got the information for himself or itself or whatever self, doesn't mean the person will retain this information, you know. And this is the part where usually it'd say, man, sounds not good if you can't retain information, like on many repetition level layers. But if I'm being like grunted on, if this sparks another conflict, I'd say, you know what, man, do your dementia thing, you know. And I'm not saying, and I'm not even saying that it's dementia, you know, because I know this argument. You said explicitly, this is verified diagnosis from Dr. Merlin that it's dementia. No, but I suppose, here's what I know, you know. You won't believe this, but I haven't studied medicine. But from the stuff, what I read and what I saw, and what I suppose, it has like dementia-like attributes, you know, like repeating the stuff a couple of times. So there is that, you know. And it's quite funny when you look into the person sort of revealed some sort of leaning towards a healthier fashion in a maybe ironically unhealthy way, but it's the person's business. But the ironic part is like it's quite funny, like I listen to all the wrong channels but not the right ones, you know. But all the wrong channels told me they are right, so it's okay. This brings out the next point. But you do you, man, you know, it's your life. If you say drinking Quicksilver is healthy, you do you, you know. But don't get me involved, because otherwise legally I'll get in trouble, like what is it, for not helping. And that's something I'm not looking forward to, you know. Jail time because somebody else was like person was poisoning themselves without like no logical background whatsoever. This could have been handled so much easier, but I digress. And this is like a 25 minutes long video now. And yeah, I do hope this clarifies for the one person which it interests, like me, myself, and I. Okay, bye bye.